What's up, everybody? Happy midday Monday to ya. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. How's everybody doing? Happy midday Monday to everybody. Pray that all is well with you and your family and you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. You're having a God-blessed day. Hey, listen, guys, it's midday Monday on the road. I'm actually on the road today. Headed to go dump off a load today, and I pray that all is well with all of you. You all are having a God-blessed day. Hey, listen, guys, you know what time it is. I always come on today to wish everybody a happy midday Monday, and to invite you to tune in for another edition of Back to the Bible tonight at 7 p.m. We have truly been blessed by a lot of the segments, and I know, as I always share with you all, we always have a lot of praise reports and testimonies that come in, and for people to share with me concerning a lot of the segments. What's going on, little sis? What's up? What's happening? God bless you. Pray that all is well with you. And so, of course, you know, we are grateful to God for a lot of the praise reports and the testimonies that be coming in, that people be sharing about how the segments are blessing them. And it is always an inspiration and an encouragement. Good evening to you, Ma. What's up? How you doing? Happy midday Monday to you. Pray that all is well with you. Enjoying your Monday afternoon. Happy midday Monday to you. So today I just want to share a very interesting nugget. A nugget that is going to make you think, something to think about. I want to share this nugget with you. And I had a few nuggets, but you know, I always try to share what the Lord presses upon my heart because he knows exactly what the people need. I don't know what we need. I don't know, but God knows, you know. But he said he will supply all of our need according to his riches and glory. He is Jehovah Jireh. He's the Lord our provider. And we know that God knows exactly what we need. He gives us what we need. Good evening to you, Brother Unique, Sister Dana McLaughlin. God bless you. I pray that all is well with you and your family. Having a God bless Monday midday. So, today's midday Monday nugget is going to share it with you. And it is this. People will remember you as long as you are a memory. As long as you are a memory, people will remember you. The day or the time or the moment that you are no longer a memory will be the time and the day and the moment that people will stop remembering you. And one may say, well, that's kind of interesting. I never thought about that. Have you ever been in a situation to where somebody could be talking about a person and you totally forgot, or they have to remind you of the memory of the person that they're talking to you about? And so you have to sit and think and be like, somebody be like, you remember such and such, or do you remember the situation that occurred? And you sitting there like, no. And then they have to go into details and they have to bring up certain details and certain points that will cause you to remember exactly what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden you will go, oh yeah, I remember now. Because at that moment, the reason why you were not able to remember the situation of the person, because the memory was gone. And so a lot of times when the memory is gone, people a lot of times don't always remember the situation or remember the person. And so the nugget is, you have to live a life. You have to make a mark. You have to leave a print. You have to leave a legacy. You have to be such an example. You got to be such a blessing and an asset to people's lives, to where your memory of you will always remind them to remember you. And so it is what you do. It is how you live. It is the person you are. It is the person that you become, that God has called you to be. Not the person that you choose to be, not the person that you want to be. It is the person that God calls you to be. It is the person that God created you to be. It's not who you want to be. It's not who you choose to be. It's not who somebody think you should be. It's who God created you to be. It's who God called you to be. And so you have to be that person. You got to live that life. You got to make that mark. You got to make that impact. You got to leave that footprint. You got to leave a legacy. Legacy is the evidence. It is the proof that you have been here. It is the evidence that once you're gone, when you leave evidence with you. And so it is what you do. It is the person that you become. It is the person that you are. It is the life that you live will determine the evidence that you leave behind. And so what we don't understand, when a person leaves this earth, they leave evidence that they've been here. We determine the evidence that we leave. Good God Almighty. Ooh. We determine the evidence that we leave. We determine the testimony that is testified when we leave. We determine what is said about us when we are no longer on this earth. That's where we look at eulogy. The word eulogy means to speak well of. So when a person's, eulogy is preached, or somebody performs your eulogy, it is somebody speaking well of you. It's when somebody speaks well of you. And so you have to give them something to say. So my life gives whoever will preach my eulogy, my life will give them something to say. So it is our responsibility. It is up to us to determine what's said regarding our life when we are no longer here. When we're gone, we determine what's said about our life. We determine that. So the nugget of the day is, live a life. Make a mark. And I'm talking about a godly mark. Don't just leave something that's not you. The worst thing you can do is leave an image behind. The worst thing you can do is create an image and live your whole life as an image, and you never make a mark in the earth because you never tap into your true identity. That's the worst thing you can do, is live your life, all your life, as an image, and you never tap into the identity that God wants you to walk in. That's the worst thing you can do. Waste your years, waste your time, waste your life living as an image. Because when you stand before God, When you stand before God, God is going to hold you responsible for the identity that you did not walk in. God's going to ask you, why didn't you fulfill the identity that I called you to fulfill? And so I just want to speak that word today as a word of encouragement, as a word that will cause you to think. This Midday Monday is designed to get you to think. And you know, I'm in a season right now that my whole focus is to try to equip people, to cause them and to help them to become established. I am not in the business of trying to drop catchy stuff to tickle and entertain your emotions, or to say things that's going to make you feel good, but it's not going to challenge you, or it's not going to cause you to think and to take self-inventory. My assignment in this season is to share things, to impart things that would cause one to be established, that would cause one to look inside of themselves, to be able to tap into what's in you. You don't have to waste your life going through life chasing things that is not designed for you. Everything that God put in you, He put in you for you to fulfill your purpose in the earth. You already got it. Everything that is in you. The Bible said that the kingdom of God is within you. It's in you. The kingdom is in you. Everything you need is in you. He has given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. God has already given us everything that pertaineth to life and godliness. So you already have it in you. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to look any further. Everything that you need is already in you. So all you got to do is line up. Watch this. All you got to do is line up with what is in you. All you got to do is line up with what is in you, and quit trying to conform to everything that is outside of you. Line up with what God has put in you. That's what you need to do. You need to come in agreement. First thing you need to do, you need to come in agreement with what God has said. You need to come in agreement with who God has created. You got to come in agreement with God's purpose and God's plan for your life. You got to come in agreement, because you cannot conform to anything that you do not agree with. The only way you can conform to something is you got to agree with what you conform to. And that's what gives you the ability to conform to it, because you have come in agreement with it. And so you got to be able to come in agreement with God. And until you come in agreement with God, and you come into agreement with everything that God requires and everything that God has created and what God has put inside of you, you would never be able to conform to that, because you have not come in agreement with that. So you can't conform to what God has ordained for your life if you are in disagreement with what He has ordained for your life. You can't you can't conform. There's no way. And so the first thing we got to do, we got to agree with God. We got to agree with what God says, and we got to agree with what God requires for us to do. Once we come in agreement with God's will, we can then conform to God's will. And once you conform to God's will, you can then fulfill God's will. See, that's the order. You have to agree with God. Okay. Look at that load operator. That boy is something else. I tell you what. You got to come in agreement with God. Once you come in agreement with God, you begin to conform to his will. And once you conform to his will, then you begin to fulfill his will. You will never be able to fulfill the will of God until you first conform to the will of God. And you will never be able to conform to the will of God until you first come in agreement with the will of God. So I submit to you, you're wasting time when you are in disagreement with God's will for your life. When you're trying to do other things that has nothing to do with God's will, you're wasting time. And the same time you're wasting, you're going to have to give an account for it. So why not just come in agreement with God, and why not conform to God's will so that you can fulfill God's will, because you're going to have to give an account anyway. I would rather give an account for doing God's will than to give an account for not doing God's will, because the end result is going to be totally different. And so in the end, make up in your mind to make sure that you come in agreement with God's will, so that you can conform to God's will, so that you can fulfill God's will. All right? And so if you fulfill God's will, the fruit will remain. The fruit will show. And so you don't want to be a forgotten memory, but you want to be a person that lives a life that makes a mark, that makes an impact in the earth. And you want to be able to be remembered for somebody who has fulfilled, who has conformed, and who has lived a life that was in agreement with God's will. So that when you leave, you will leave a legacy, you will leave evidence, you will leave a testimony that you have done, you have fulfilled, you have completed, you were successful in producing, bringing forth that which God called you to bring forth, and you did not waste time. You was not a person that is easily forgotten because of what you left behind. You don't want to be forgotten. You don't want to be a person that nobody wants to remember you because of the life you live. Sometimes people don't want to remember because of the negative impact sometimes people have left. Sometimes the things that they may have done that they did not take responsibility and ownership for. They never repented for it. They never wronged their rights. They never righted their wrongs. They never made things right. They did not make peace with those that they may have offended. They may have crossed in a negative light. And so a lot of times people are forgotten because of the impact, because of the way they were, because of the way they were treated. You don't want to live your life to the point to where people are more relieved than they are sorrowful. You want to be missed in a positive way, in a good way, in a godly way, to the point to where your life was so much of an impact in other people's lives, that your life was such a blessing, that your life was such an asset to other people's lives, to where you are greatly missed when you're gone. Because your life now is no longer a forgotten memory. Your life now is a memory that will always be remembered because of the impact and the way you touch people, the way you love people, the way you sacrifice for people, the way you lay yourself aside for the well-being of other people. See, people would never forget that. And there was no ulterior motive. There was no hidden motive in mind. Because a lot of times people support, people help, people do things with a selfish ambition and a motive in mind. I'm only helping you because when I need your help, I would expect you to help me back. Or you got something I want, and in order for me to get it, I got to get close to you. In order for me to get close to you, I got to support you. I got to help you. I got to do something for you. And so you don't want to be one of those people. Just serve people because that's what servants do. Love people because that's what God commands us to do. Be nice to people because you are truly nice. I can't get no help. Be a good person because the good God is living inside of you. Don't have a motive behind your movement. Don't always have a ulterior motive behind your motion. Don't always have a ulterior motive behind everything you do. Let it be pure. Let your serving be pure. Let your support be pure. Let your love be pure. Let your help be pure. Whatever you seek to do, let it be pure. Don't let it be connected to ulterior motive, because that will affect your legacy. That will affect how you are remembered, okay? And so the nugget of the day is live a life to where you can be remembered and you will not be forgotten. Because once a person stops remembering you, it is because the memory of you is gone. And you don't never want to live a life. You don't ever want to live a life to where your life will become a forgotten memory, because people are able to forget you because you did not make the mark. You did not make the imprint. You did not make the footprint. You did not make the impact that God created you to make. All right, that's the nugget of the day, guys. I got to go, but it's been a joy to share the Midday Monday Nugget with you all. Lord willing, I'll see you on tonight at 7 p.m. God bless all those that are coming in. I see a lot of people came in while I was in the flow. Y'all know how I do. When I get in the flow, I got the flow. So, please, ladies and gentlemen, keep your boy lifted up in your prayers so that I will continue to keep my ear to the mouth of God. I had to cut my air off so that y'all can hear me, but it's getting a little toasty up in here. Brother beginning to sweat, butter drops. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't working for me. So brother gotta come some air. Okay. So y'all continue to keep the boy lifted up. The boy gotta go. But it's been a joy to share the Midday Monday Nugget with you. I pray that you all have a God bless Monday afternoon. Again, I want to see you tonight, 7 p.m. for another edition of Back to the Bible. God's Stand of a Man is gonna be on. It's gonna be on. We're gonna have a good time tonight. The Lord's gonna bless us tonight. We're going back to 2 Samuel chapter 11, guys. Listen, I got a whole lot more to share with you, and I can't wait to see you. Lord willing, tonight, 7 p.m. for another edition of Back to the Bible. God's Stand of a Man. Holla at your boy. I'll see you tonight. Peace.